Hey everyone, if you're not sick of getting live stream notifications from a bunch of different platforms, logging in and seeing that the broadcast has ended, which is apparently something that maybe just happened to you 2 or 3 times, that means it's time for the Nerd Log. If you're not feeling like, oh my gosh, am I stuck in time? Am I late for something? Am I experiencing some sort of Billy Pilgrim-esque adventure through my own timeline because it's not noon Pacific, it's early in the morning? Do not adjust your televisions, folks. It is time for the Nerd Log. And we have a near and dear colleague of mine joining us from their new role. We've got Adam Larson. Adam, say hi to the people. Tell them what you do for not for New Relic, but for Lacework.
Sorry, can you say that again?
Tell them what you do for Lacework.
Oh yeah. Oh god, it's like a weird made-up title that I always forget. Essentially, what I do is I help the go-to-market side of the house with technical things. So, building out demo environments, communicating kind of the technical stuff of what we do. Like any content, I kind of review and make sure it's like actually accurate and not a bunch of marketing mumbo jumbo. So, kind of a Swiss Army knife on the go-to-market side of the house.
Nice. So, Adam Larson, if you do not recognize the face or the reputation, which you should, Adam Larson was the technical person who essentially created the sort of concept of product marketing here at New Relic, which is having actual product expertise and familiarity with the product and using that to go out and talk to people about it. And so I, to this day, use Adam's stuff. I use Adam's Demotron and all this good stuff to show off pieces of the Nerd Relic product. That's truly inside baseball. But the point is that Adam's School, we're excited to have Adam here to talk about Lacework. I am getting the weirdest effect on my stream, but it's fine. Here's what it is. I'll tell you in case anybody wants to play along from home. Adam is rendering to me in the broadcast studio super badly at like 140p. I'm looking at Twitch. I'm looking at YouTube. He looks great. So I don't know what. I don't know why Social Live is gaslighting me right now.
No, I'm having that same issue too, honestly. But I was just like, I was just gonna let it go.
I think that we're just, like a la Monster Factory, where like the creator of Fallout becomes the like hidden enemy of the show. Like, despite the fact that I love Social Live and I love multi-streaming that's doing great for us, I'm just gonna make Social Live the like hidden villain in everything. Where anytime I flub, I'd be like, "Oh, Social Live, you did it to me again."
You're not even using Social Live, and it's still their fault.
Yeah.
This is disappointing to me. Like I was telling Nika yesterday, like I've kind of invested in like I'm gonna be in this room for the rest of my life apparently. So like I should make it like nice, and I got a DSLR camera for my webcam. The fact it's coming through so low is such a.
But to the people, moment. Which I could see, you look great. So it is clearly just like somehow it has decided like, nope.
I know how to fix the issue, Nika. What? If you go onto Social Live, you see where it's like got the couple bars in the lower right-hand corner, and then there's a couple sliders. You click the slider, you open that up, and you click high quality.
I do not have this slider.
Yeah, let's see.
They look like sliders. It's next to the 3, like where it's saying the frames per second, and then you click select max playback quality.
Yeah, I cannot get that. It's fine. Some
customers are getting it.
Who cares? Yeah, the customers are getting it. I was definitely using that like video API in the browser, and somehow it's decided like, I'm going to render this at a lower frame rate. But hey, that's fine because, as we say, customers are getting it. So we are here to talk about a number of things, but the first thing I had to talk about is Burning Elmo. Because I did not get the AliExpress link before we talked about it yesterday. So let's talk about Hellfire Elmo in the background.
So this is like I do a lot of like little hardware hacking projects, as I know because we've chatted about it 1,000 times. But this one is actually just me cheating, and it's called like a Divum Pixu, I think is the official product name. But it's like it's all pre-built. It's just like comes with a little Bluetooth app, so like you like plug it in, set it up, and then you can basically like render any 32 by 32 like pixel art GIFs. They have a 64 by 64 one, by the way, that I think just released, but I like the 32 look better. But yeah, like there's thousands, maybe millions, I don't know, of like available pixel art things that I could potentially put on this thing. And I'm like going through one day and I found that, and I will never update it ever because every time I look at it, it makes me laugh. Like just the flaming Elmo, like reaching to the gods, has always been my favorite thing.
So wait, how is Pixoo spelled? Because I'm gonna find this thing. That's the thing.
Pixoo. So Divoom is the brand, Pixoo is the product. They sell like other ones that look like, you know, like little TVs. I'd recommend against anything that's like their 16 by 16 line. It's just too small.
Right.
Like you can't like get like a lot
You're
of.
You're not gonna get much more than a smiley face off of that. Yeah. Oh yeah. I am gonna send this thing out.
64 has Wi-Fi as well, so you could actually have like your stream count and like, you know, like there's another product I saw that did something comparable, but it was exorbitantly expensive. I'm trying to remember.
I'm gonna send this thing out as swag. I am gonna send this thing out as swag to people.
This is sick.
Yeah.
I just dropped a link in the chat for chat who wants to check it out.
Real life Slack emojis or Slack GIFs. Yeah.
That is great. I'm just going to open up the YouTube chat because we had a very active YouTube chat last week, and so we want to talk about that. So we're here to talk about Lacework. Ooh, live now. I'm so glad we're live now. I love that. On YouTube. Let me get this open so I can see what's going on in chat. But I don't want to hear that audio. I didn't want that. Thank you. Okay. Oh, okay. Yep. So I have that set. So if I set that, yep, that's working. Okay. Cool. So, talk to me about Lacework. Let's say that I am a fool, and I wish I am ignorant of all things, and I want to hear what's the pitch for Lacework, Adam.
This is a really hard role play because I know you're not a fool. We've had it too many times to make this viable.
I didn't answer that email.
That is true. I mean, like for those
backstory for people watching from home. Let's hear about this email. This is some real shit. I already got to talk about that.
There's some drama between Nika and I behind the scenes where we're putting on a nice facade for the stream. But so Nika and I had, like as I said, discussed hardware hacking many times. So I left New Relic. I was an employee for about 7 years. Like, you know, like Nika and I had worked together pretty directly, and I'm like, I'm missing Nika in my life. Like I was working on a ESP32 project, and I'm like, I need somebody that can help me just like rubber duck and troubleshoot this problem. I'm going to reach out to my old pal, Nika, who it's only been a couple months since we chatted. Like, you know, I shouldn't have evaporated from her life yet. And then I sent an email.
What's the date? Get the date for me. It's like
July 16th. July 16th. It was during the week. Like directly to her work email. Nothing. Just crickets. So we then had to reconcile yesterday to make the stream potential.
About the time that email bankruptcy started, where if I like that, about half of the emails that show up as new in my inbox just never get read, and then the other side of it is I discovered around that time that was like, I was the level of busy where if I did not put in a reminder into Google right then, I would be like, weeks later, be like, hey, you submitted that thing to legal, right? It's like, oh, no, I put in no reminder.
Why didn't you put it in Slack? Yeah, like, what do you expect?
Exactly, yeah, just completely lost. So that's the drama, folks. I am, of course, the drama. Love that for me. And what about Lacework? So
yeah. There we go. And I wasn't running from Nika. We left on amicable terms. But no, so as was mentioned, I spent about 7 years at New Relic, and then about 6 months ago, I switched over to Lacework. So the kind of elevator pitch for them, especially for a New Relic oriented audience, is pretty easy. I was kind of telling Ali before the stream of like, philosophically and even architecturally, like Lacework and New Relic are pretty much the same. It's like I feel like I could still be working at New Relic for all intents and purposes in terms of like the types of technical problems I have to deal with. There's nuanced differences, but for the most part, it's a multi-tenant SaaS product, except instead of focusing on, kind of digging the needles out of the haystack for data for observability use cases, we're much more focused on security use cases. So we'll kind of chat about it, more as we go on, but like there's a really nice kind of baton handoff between New Relic and Lacework, like where a lot of times observability investigations like turn into security investigations, like where it's like you kind of discover like, oh yeah, this actually was something that, like now I need to figure out what the blast radius was, or like how did they get in and all those things. So, but yeah, no, The big stuff about New Relic or about Lacework is that you know, they take a massive smorgasbord of data from a bunch of different sources. They you know, send it all up to their fully SaaS backend. So there's nothing that you like deploy for collection or analytics. And then they you're sharing my screen now?
Yeah, I just switched over.
That actually makes it pretty easy to talk about. Yeah. This is like a really great kind of summary of what Lacework does. Like, you know, like this is just a little demo account, but like even for that little demo account, like there was 2 million events that were generated. We synthesize those into not just kind of like the raw events, but we call them entity behaviors. So, you know, this user logged into this thing, this application talked to this other application, this process spun up this sub process, like, you know, so that would be what a behavior is. Then from that, we detect events. Events in our nomenclature is basically anomalies. And this is where like a lot of our secret sauce comes from, is that old security products were very oriented around like you had a bunch of domain knowledge to kind of guess what would go wrong. You know, like you wrote what was called like a rules-based approach of like, if this happens, then notify me. And then that's either led to like, it was not very permissive. So all of a sudden, like you'd just be like outright missing things all the time because like you didn't account for every possible edge case that you could encounter, or it was way too permissive and you were just getting bombarded with alerts of like, yeah, like Allie logged in again. Like, yeah, she continues to do her job every day. So what we focus on is basically using ML in a non-generic, fake, made-up way, like actual ML to baseline those entity behaviors and then just report on deviations from the norm. So if Allie logs in every single day and like creates a new you know, admin user, like we're not going to notify you of that because that's Allie's job. Maybe like, you know, she's creating users for other folks to do trainings or whatever. But if Allie all of a sudden logs in from, you know, Brazil, and she goes into a region, she starts exposing S3 buckets to the open internet. Like, you know, that's something that she's not done before. And that's something that we will notify on. So it's all about those kind of new behaviors. Just like New Relic, this is kind of like one facet of our platform. It's kind of like our APM story, like where it's like the you know, big money maker.
This is the starting point.
That ML stuff is really kind of the cool secret sauce that like brings everybody in, but it is a security platform. And like, you know, we do other stuff. So more proactive stuff, like, you know, like actually being able to prevent things from occurring instead of just seeing things that have occurred. So, you know, scanning containers and hosts for known vulnerabilities, doing what are called compliance or config checks, basically just saying like, here's a laundry list of everything that you have deployed into your cloud, and here's how they're potentially misconfigured based on like best practices. And then we also kind of like from a little bit of a novel perspective is not only do we do kind of that detection stuff that I was talking about for the workloads, like, you know, like the hosts and the processes and like the SSHing in the machine, but we also protect the cloud accounts, which is kind of a novel surface area for us relative to other vendors, where we make sure that like, you know, it's like if you are logging into the AWS account or you are using IAM creds, like if there are deviations from the normal behaviors for those users as well, we'll also report up on that.
Yeah, and this is a big piece that, you know, I think obviously there's a lot of tension there, especially for kind of things that are like not the most malicious of hacks. Like obviously the classic one that's on a lot of people's minds right now is that, you know, you're going to find yourself running a bunch of Bitcoin miners and a bunch of, you know, AWS VMs that you did not mean to be doing, where it's not so much that someone is trying to attack sort of the very core of your business, but it's that somebody's trying to say, well, you know, I want access and I want to use a bunch of resources really quickly. And as you know, the attack you know, damage is going to be this massive AWS bill, right? That's going to be sort of the plan. Yep. And in fact, I follow somebody. I'm not gonna shout them out because I think they're great and I love what they're doing. They're sharing like, here's my beginner's guide to doing this and that, and they're clearly like they're not getting help. You know, they're not like, you know, consulting with friends. It's like, oh, I'm just gonna try this out, and they do all this stuff and get hacked every time. Like they'll like share keys on stream or they'll do some other mistake. Like, oh, once again, I'm running a bunch of Bitcoin miners on the phone again with AWS billing because I didn't mean to do, you know, like, and just has to like delete and start over a bunch of times. And again, love them to death. So I'm not trying to embarrass them, but yeah.
You said, I mean, like, there's something really, really important in that as well, which is like, you know, it used to be that like, again, like security was very oriented around like, here's a list of a bunch of bad things, you know, like bad file hashes and like, you know, it's like known bad DNS names. And like, that was kind of the extent of security. Is like, if you step on one of these mines, we're going to notify you. But like the reality is with like all of the major kind of movements that have come to make dev easier, like, you know, like cloud and DevOps and containerization, like they've created way more surface area and democratized access to like who has the ability to make a mistake that can turn into a security issue. So like that kind of old behavior of like trying to guess what's going to go wrong preemptively just isn't viable anymore, which is why having this kind of data oriented approach, like we say we turn security into a data problem, like is so important, because it's really about the unknown unknowns. And a lot of times those unknowns are exactly what you were saying of like, it's not like, oh, I installed this, CVE or like common vulnerability. Like I installed this known bad thing, but instead it's like, I misconfigured something like, oh, I accidentally like exposed my GitHub keys in, GitHub in a public repo. Or
I love the anomaly model because it really is, like, hey, Ali goes in and provisions a VM every day, right? For training or for onboarding or whatever. And so, there's really no rules-based way to say, hey, someone used that same permission to create a bunch of Bitcoin miners, because all it would be is, oh, she created 140,000 of these VMs today. Right. Mm-hmm. And so that has to be some kind of anomaly detection system, because it cannot possibly be like, oh, it's okay for them to do this, but it's not okay for them to do it, X number of times. Like, this is absolutely something where, anomalies would be part of the picture to actually find it. And the last thing I'll say about this is that the last time I was talking about observability in a workshop, I took the time to say observability is not security. And they can absolutely help each other. And so it's a weird thing to say. It's like, you had to be like, asterisk, right? Like, New Relic can help you with security, but don't put everything in one bucket, right? Observability is, hey, we have a problem. We know we have a problem. What's causing it, right? Or
New Relic is part of your toolkit for incident response, for security. Don't rely on it, as Nika's saying, to be your be-all, end-all.
I've got a demo for this.
Oh, yeah. Oh my God! Let's jump in.
Yeah, we should, and we will. Like, also, like, if you have a question of like, what's our best-selling product? Like, New Relic can help you with that too. It's just that's not observability, right? Observability is you understanding like technical problems that you have with your system. Market intelligence and user analytics and stuff. Those are all cool things, and they're part of the story. But yeah, like, observability is just that one piece. But okay, let's talk about a demo for that. Let's talk about observability helping with security.
No, yeah. So I mean, and you already hit the nail on the head. So I'm just Vanna Whiting my way through this now. I won't be adding too much context, but so this is a very poor demo. But essentially, like, what we did was we wanted to create something that started off as an observability use case, as I mentioned, but then transitions into a security use case. So kind of demonstrating like the relationship between our two products in like a very anecdotal but concrete way. So what I'm showing you here is just core New Relic. Like we ran this application yesterday just to kind of like get the events here, so it's not long running, which is why you're kind of seeing this degradation. But like we're looking at a core APM application. We called it the Vote app. And we can see here there were obviously some pretty big performance degradations. Like the thing got, crazy slow compared to its normal baseline, which is like 10 milliseconds or something like that. So this is all New Relic. New Relic is going to give me what, from a security standpoint, we would call an indicator of compromise. Like, it's like an application spiking up. Like that's kind of a red flag for us. So now from here, there's a lot of things that could lead to the slowness that we're seeing in New Relic. Like, it's like, it could be, I just, wrote a bad for loop. It could be that, it's like one of my libraries is doing something crazy. But in this particular case, like, I'm not going to go through like the whole investigatory stuff, because again, it's kind of very bread and butter for New Relic. But what it ended up being was a noisy neighbor, where basically on the host that we had this application deployed, we had another process that was deployed that was sapping all the resources. Like we've all accidentally clicked on Microsoft Office and our laptop was hosed for 5 minutes. So we know that pain. But in this case, like, it's like this application got slower because all the resources were stolen from it from something else. Again, very New Relic observability use case. New Relic is going to show me what that noisy neighbor is. I would then transition down into the infrastructure product. I would look at the host, see what other processes were actually installed. Now, what happens if the process that was installed isn't something that I expected to be there, but it's a crypto miner? Like, I think that's a really great example of like, crypto miners are notorious for like, they're going to steal every bit of CPU that they can because they know they're not going to be running forever and they want to steal as much resource as they can in the limited time that they have. So New Relic again is going to show me what host is it on, what's the PID, so I know enough to get in there and kill -9 the thing. But then New Relic kind of like falls a little bit short from the security standpoint, because now there's a broader security story that like how the hell did they get into my system? Like, what other things did they do around the same time? Like, how big is this blast radius? And that's where the baton handoff into Lacework comes about.
And this is absolutely like, this is a really good example where it's like, no, that's way out, that's outside of scope, right? Where it's like, hey, we want people to love New Relic, not fear it, right? Like, and we want to mainly tell an observability story, right? So this absolutely makes sense. It's like, hey, if you want some security specific stuff, this is the way to get there.
Yeah. And I mean, New Relic's really great at becoming that consolidation point for kind of like all of these kind of technical oriented use cases, like anything that really has to do with your apps and your infrastructure, because of like, I still think NRDB is like one of the coolest technologies that I've ever dealt with in my career. Like when I first started, NRDB was just coming out. And I remember I spent like my first week proving that it wasn't real. I'm like, no way this thing's actually working that fast. Like I wrote like a whole POC and I'm like, holy shit, it's actually like accurate and working. So I still swear by that tech. But like what we were able to do as a partner of New Relic was we were able to send our security data, like, the summary data, to create enough connective tissue between our two products such that we can actually again, stay where the investigation likely started, because it was starting from impacting customer experience. That's where, everybody's alerts, priority normally is. And then now once it transitions into a security or a marketing or whatever other use case, now I can jump into like the networking tool for deep dive, or I can get into the raw logs if I really need to, if they're somewhere else, but I can get into the security tools if I need to. So I love New Relic as that consolidation point, especially with NRDB kind of being the tool that we can use as partners to get on there.
Cool. I absolutely love this. This is so neat to actually get some. Let's take a look at this anomaly detection view.
So actually, it's probably worth like doing a quick call out to just like, again, like I hate demos that I see and then it's like, oh, that looked really, really cool and I loved it. And then I buy the product, or we do like the $1 million contract, and then it's like, oh, cool, now it's going to be like 6 months to install. I have to maintain a bunch of crap. Like I have to pay their consultant.
We got to send people to your org, right? We got to send people in 2-button suits to your conference rooms to say, hey, here's how to do this, and oh, you're using this deployment tool. Well, that's not going to work anymore. You can't use that CI/CD anymore because we don't support it. Right.
I'm not classy enough to know the difference between a 2-button and a 3-button suit. Are 2 buttons like the business folk, and then
2 buttons is like it's slightly old style business. Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
I get it now.
I love this callback that's about to happen. If you watched, what was it, our episode last week where we covered this launch? No. Two before.
So this is also this is ostensibly why we're here. It's very neat that we have this embedded stuff, and I think a big thing about that is saying, hey, to get started with this, you're going to have to talk to an account specialist and do 1 million steps. It's a little tough, right? So what we love about instant observability, or the New Relic IO, is that we are able to have our partners come in and say, hey, here's this very, very quick way to get this data integrated. So let's take a look at this.
Cool. Yeah, and it's not a very sexy demo because it essentially is just like showing a button click, but that's a good thing from a customer standpoint of essentially and there is something that goes on behind the scenes. But basically, it's like you have to set up the plumbing for the raw data. So that basically is setting up like an alert notification channel in New Relic, except inside of Lacework. So you get your API key, you plug that into Lacework. That will start sending the Lacework data directly to NRDB. Full stop. That's all it takes. That can be done in 10 minutes. If you're not familiar with where you're looking. Then all you have to do, because New Relic's had that ability for a long time, the ability to get data in, where I think instant observability really shines from my standpoint is once you get the data onto the New Relic platform as a third-party vendor, you're kind of hosed. You have to tell the end user oh, here's a bunch of NERCL queries, or here's certain spots in the UI that you can look that it slightly accents or augments existing experiences, but it's just not a very seamless flow. With instant observability now, we can actually just come in here and we can just say, install this quick start, and we can pre-curate all of the dashboards, the alerts, the kind of configuration setup if we had any, which we don't, instantly just into their account. So now we have the ability to basically create our own curated experiences for customers on the New Relic platform, which makes it really...
By we, you literally mean Lacework in this situation, correct?
literally me in this situation, but as on behalf of Lacework, yes. So yeah, I got to go through the flow, and like again, like, it's like having worked on what was kind of the first incarnation of this at New Relic. There was something called New Relic plugins back in like 2013 that never really got off the ground because it was not this seamless. And like there have been several kind of attempted iterations because New Relic knew the value of the data. This is like the first time that I'm kind of looking at like this functionality within the New Relic platform and be like, cool, like you got it right. Like this is actually useful as like a third-party vendor.
And this actual integration is maintained by Lacework, is
correct. Yep, yes. It's all open source as well. So
yeah.
It's like if a customer wanted to, like they could like take the dashboards and like upload them directly after they like made augmentations. They can change stuff if they want. But yeah, like we are responsible for the repo, the support, any upgrades. Like it's totally in our purview.
We love this tag team energy.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, this started for me, like I knew something. I also been working with New Relic for a very long time. And I knew something was up with the system when Kentic came in and said, hey, we have network observability. And they were able to show like, oh my gosh, like this is a massive change because we just did it, right? Like it was already implemented. It wasn't something where we had to go through a whole bunch of steps to get it happening.
Yeah, so not snake oil is the summary of this portion of the demo. Like, it's like the fact that it can actually be set up quickly and you don't have to worry about maintaining it in perpetuity and all the crap that can normally come with, other SaaS vendors, I think is a really big win, just to call out before we get into like what you actually get for the integration. So we have 3 dashboards. I kind of called out like, it's like the quick summary for Lacework is, again, like we do detection-based capabilities. So it's like finding anomalies. But like, that's all the unknown stuff. That's where like rules-oriented approaches don't really work anymore. Next thing that we do to not kind of be like, oh, like we just tell you when things have gone wrong. Like we also give you preventative capabilities or prevention. So that's where like the compliance and config stuff. So we broke those out into 2 separate dashboards just to make it easier because, like you're clearly going to be in a different mindset if you're tracking somebody in your system actively versus how do I keep people out of my system. And then we have a 3rd dashboard that's kind of a broad, trying to marry the New Relic and the Lacework data together on a single screen. And that's like the most work in progress one. I'd love feedback from anyone on the streams or either of you as well on how we can potentially make that better. So we might be able to turn this into a brainstorming session if we have time. So, you can kind of see here again, like this is all Lacework data. Like everything that you're looking at here, like this is, like I had to talk to our marketing team to figure out where the heck we stored this icon so we could put it on this page. So we had full control over kind of everything we're seeing here. And it's essentially, it's like, here's everything that we've detected that's been anomalous in whatever time frame we're looking at. So let's say that we're trying to figure out what was going on with that XMRig installation that we were looking at before. So we'll just continue the same demo from the New Relic standpoint. So it's like I'm going to expand my time window. And it is worth calling out as well. We can see like in the last day, we have 218 anomalous events, but you can see most of them are in this kind of low priority info, just kind of there if you need it, like from like a log standpoint, but not really something that like we expect you to kind of drop everything and go after. But that's again, just calling out the keeping the alert noise down. Let's just expand this to, crazy 3-month window just to show at scale, it still works. So nothing crazy here. Again, a bunch of the 5,000 events that we saw, most of them are in that info territory. So I'm just going to come in here and I'm going to kind of shortcut the demo instead of like clicking around the UI and showing all the filter stuff. And I'm just going to say, I know from my investigation in New Relic that XMRig is the name of the crypto miner. Like I would have found that out in the infrastructure product on the processes tab. So I'm just going to say, show me anything in Lacework that you detected as anomalous that includes XMRig over the last 3 months. So once I do that, now I basically filter that down to, it looks like we've seen this specific XMRig application 11 different times in the last 3 months. And that's mainly me prepping for this demo. Like normally you would not have the same crypto miner installed numerous times. But we can see here, for each one, it looks like there's probably, I think, about 4 generated for each run. So we can see or 3 to 4. So we can see we have this new app event. So we can see application dash. So the dash terminal running as this user launched this XMRig miner, running it as the same user on this particular node. Wow. So we have a bunch of data. Most of this is New Relic data as well. Like New Relic would have the same information. Like I don't know if they have the who the processes run under.
Yeah.
What really makes this powerful is now the ability to say, it's not just that I filter this information down. I have kind of like this like raw log of like a quick summary thing that's just confirming what maybe I already knew. But now I can actually seamlessly click from the New Relic interface into the Lacework interface. So that way, like I'm not like having to reset my filters. I'm not having to, change my timeline and do all the investigatory crap to like get to the same information. I'm just continuing that same investigation, but now from a different portion of the product. And you can see here, this dash application, we contextualize all the information just like New Relic did, spun up a new child. We can see the exact command line that was issued to spin up that child. So like where's the config file? And then as we scroll through here, like that's where, we can see the related events. So we don't need to get super deep dive into the kind of Lacework interface for this specific one, but it's really about that, again, connective tissue between like what started off from an observability standpoint now is turned into a security story. And like, I didn't have to break context. I didn't have to change my nomenclature and my tools and all that crap. Like it feels seamless, which is really powerful.
Oh my gosh, I love this so much. We're coming up on time, so I want to make sure that you get everything demoed that you want us to show. But I mean, we've gotten pretty deep, pretty fast, so I like this already. But yeah, we got a few more minutes. So is there stuff that you wanted to get up on screen before we start doing our plugs and tell people how to actually try it out?
Oh, I wish I had you shut me up sooner. Sorry. Yeah.
No, this is the good stuff. I mean, we got the good stuff. I don't know. I'm happy.
We'll check with chat. Chat will let us know if it's the good stuff. Hopefully.
Yeah, we got a lot of people sticking around to watch it, so that one feels good.
So I'll just do kind of like a nickel tour of some of the cool functionality. So like we've kind of already called out like this anomaly based detection. Like, so this is what we call our polygraph. It's very akin to the New Relic service map. It's auto generated. I don't have to set anything up, except instead of being application oriented, it's process oriented. So we'll actually see any network oriented process automatically. And I just like this specific example because we can see like basically these things highlighted in red are how the anomalies manifest pictorially. So like I can see like everything that was gray or normal here, like that was running the hour before. But here at 10 a.m., I can see that this vote application for the first time ever talked to map fastly DNS, which is what happens when you do an apt-get update. And then shortly after talk to Postgres. So this app that's never had a dependency on this database before all of a sudden talk to this database for the first time in that hour. That becomes really important because like having a database running, having an application running, having them talk to each other, like that's not scary stuff from a security standpoint normally. But the fact that this application that's been running in production for a while now out of nowhere talk to this database for the first time being surfaced as an event that's worth looking into. That's kind of where a product like Lacework really shines from that detection standpoint.
Yeah, it definitely stands out as like it's the observability story helping the security story. But yeah, go ahead.
Yep. And I mean, like I'll just call out again, it's like so if you're going through like compliance audits or anything like that, trying to get SOC 2, trying to get HIPAA, like which is normally a pain in the ass, email back and forth process. We actually work with compliance auditors ourselves, and like we pre-populate these reports off of your data. So we've basically said like what do you need as like a HIPAA auditor to give somebody HIPAA compliance? And they're like, well, here are the things that you have to check. So I can just change this report, we'll say, into the HIPAA report. And then it presents all of this kind of security information in here's how many we assessed, here's how many are actually affected or violated. And it makes it very easy to have that communication.
Wow, that is neat.
I love this as someone who's like had to think a lot about HIPAA compliance from a data perspective. I'm so happy to see this.
Yeah, anybody who's trying to like be scrappy in that healthcare space, which I know, Ali, you have experience with, it's like, This is
the best.
Cool. Yeah, and I mean, there's other stuff, but just like New Relic, you're never going to fit all of it in one presentation. So yeah, like happy to chat with anybody else. I don't know if we've shared any of my socials.
Oh, well, it is not kind of a tough question. How can we get someone, if you really want to go deep on this, how could you get like an hour just with Adam going into Lacework stuff, talking about how it integrates with New Relic, talking about the observability story? If I was just thinking, why don't we organize some kind of event maybe next week where people can come in and even earn like some kind of cool little badge because they've got some New Relic experience? I think there's a way we might be able to make that happen come on down to Data Nerd Days, folks. Links are in the chat. Links are going to be down below the video. And yeah, I really want people to come in and check this out, because I think, especially if you're smaller and you're looking at trying to tell a compliance story or tell a security story with SaaS, this is just a key piece of that story. I mean, I'm giving your pitch, Adam, so I don't mean to talk over you.
No, it's you nailed it. Like it really is about democratizing security, where you don't have to have 10 years of experience knowing every security acronym and breach of the last 10 years. Like, we're turning into a data problem where, like, you know, it's like fewer people can make more, can accomplish more by kind of like looking at it from a data perspective. And I think you nailed it on the head. You know, small organizations especially, but large organizations too. Like, it's the same optimization that they get from the observability tools like New Relic, where what was 10 people's job can become more efficient. Those, you know, extra people can work on other more fun stuff. Yeah,
there was a fascinating article in The Economist 2 weeks ago now called "Is Cybersecurity a Market for Lemons?" Which really stood out. It says, you know, so many people are doing like so much, like so many people are buying cybersecurity without understanding what it's actually getting them or what's sort of in the box. Yep. That in a lot of the market, a bad product has pushed out good, right? Where you're saying, you know, it's so much bad product is getting sold that doesn't deliver very much at all to people, that it's like, well, why bother with something that actually has some like differentiation or actually like does something for people? I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to agree with you emphatically. Like, I mean, like tech sales in general, like, you know, it's like it's selling, like there's a lot of snake oil out there that I think that, like, you know, it's like it looks great on paper. It's got all these check boxes, but it's not usable for like a human being trying to do their job. So it's like, I always gravitate towards companies that like actually care about solving the problem in a way that makes like the industry better, rather than just like, oh, like we're going to make millions of dollars and disappear next year.
Yeah. And on the authority of, hey, we know better about this than you because, you know, this guy used to be in some weird shadowy government wing or something. Yeah. But we got to close out because there's another stream starting soon. This is why we're like getting out the big hook, by the way, folks, is that because we moved our time slot around, it took us a while to get started. It was like, okay, next stream's got to start in a minute and a half. So we got to roll. But folks, do come check us out at Data Nerd Days. I'm definitely going to be there to see Adam's talk. I'll be talking about microservices probably. I got a lot of talk today, folks. I got a lot of stuff on the schedule. But what else? Check out the Nerd Log every Thursday. Adam, do you have an internet famous goat that you want people to go check out? That's like, you know, always climbing stuff or getting into mischief.
The only like standard YouTube celebrities that I know are all like video game streamers. So I really like Ryukar. So like I don't know if that's relevant for this, but that's where I'll be spending my time after hours.
So where can people find you on the internet, though?
Yeah.
Well, me. You said internet famous.
Yeah. Do you have an internet famous goat?
I'm very active on Facebook still. Very. I'm the one left. Me and all my high school friends' parents. But I'm also on LinkedIn and Twitter at Lars2893. I don't know the best way to share that would be.
I will put a link down below the video. Okay, folks. To obey our masters, the chronographs. We got to go out. So I'm gonna go play my little outro video. Thank you so much for joining us, everybody.
Always a pleasure.